प्रस्ताय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिते नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गिरधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So thank you everyone for joining today, this morning, the Srīmad Bhāgavatam class. We are studying Canto 10, the Samabonam, Chapter 14, Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna, and verse number 24. So we'll continue from verse number 24. Just to recap, yesterday we studied 23 and touched on a bit of 24. We basically studied that prayers, the elements of prayers are generally classified as four, and of course they are not mutually exclusive. In one of the prayers, one of the elements is we praise the Lord. Second is we ask for forgiveness. Third is we request something from the Lord. What is the fourth one? Does anyone remember the fourth one?
Gratitude.
Gratitude, yes. We Thanksgiving. So we actually offer our thanks and our gratitude to the Lord, of course, and the devotees. So here we see Brahma is actually asking for forgiveness, but in these verses also praising the Lord. We also saw that in the 23rd verse, Brahma speaks about various aspects of the Lord, and the Lord is still sort of teasing him by presenting various counter arguments to what Brahma is saying. So in 24th verse, we'll start. Evam vidham tvam sakalatmanamapi swatmanam atmatmataya vichakshate gurvar kalabdo upanishad suchakshusha yete tarantiv bhavam buddhim. Evam vidham, as thus described, tvam, you, sakala, of all. So as I mentioned yesterday, even when you're on mute, but when we are reciting this word to word, you can probably repeat after me, but keep yourself muted because otherwise there'll be disturbance. Evam vidham, as thus described, tvam, you, sakala, of all, atmanam, souls, api, indeed, swatmanam, the very soul, Atma Mataya, as the super soul, Vichakshate, they see, Guru, from the spiritual master, Arka, who is like the sun. Labdha, received, Upanishad, of confidential knowledge. Suchakshusha, by the perfect eye. Ye, who, te, they. Taranti, crossover. Eva, easily. Bhava, of material existence. Anrita, which is not real. Ambudhim, the ocean. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone wants to read the translation and purport, please? Of verse number 24.
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes.
Those who have received the clear vision of knowledge from the sun-like spiritual master can see you in this way, as the very soul of all souls, the super souls of everyone's own self. Thus, understanding your original personality, they are able to cross over the ocean of illusory material existence. Purport. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punarjanma neiti mameti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and my activities does not, upon leaving the body, takes his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. So here we can see that Brahma is speaking about, getting the knowledge from sun-like spiritual master. And he speaks about evam vidham. That means as described in the previous verse. So, people who have described, who are seeing the Lord as the soul of all souls and various other aspects, their vision is very clear. As we see, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. So we were born in the darkness of ignorance, and Srila Prabhupada and our gurus opened our eyes. So when we come to Srila Prabhupada, we actually get trained by a pure devotee to gradually come to the point of selfless worship. Now, whatever we are doing, there might be some element of selfishness. So from selflessness, from selfishness, we come to the total position of selfless worship. And then what we pray? We pray that please, may I never give up your service. We do not want anything else, because as we know, service itself is the best. As Krishna in the 10th canto speaks to the gopis, na parayaham, that I cannot repay your debt. So please consider your service as the remuneration. Again, when we follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, what does Prahlad Maharaj says? In the 7th canto, when he's speaking to Lord Nrsimhadev, I think it's the 9th chapter, Prahlad Maharaj says, Evam janam nipatitam prabhava hi kupe kama bhikama manuyah prapatan prasangat kritmatmatat surarsi na bhagwan grihita soham katham anusajya pritya seva. He says, your servant Narad Muni has saved me. And, I was in the darkest of well, Andhakupam, and he saved me from the darkest of well. And same thing in the next verse here, Brahma is saying that what does a spiritual master do? So as we heard yesterday, that the verses 24 and 25 go together. Vishwanath Chakravarti here, he gives a nice little twist and explanation. And he says that, when we as young devotees, just like fresh in the moment, when we hear Prabhupada is speaking about Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, yes, Prabhupada wanted us to have the best. He wanted us to have the direct association of the person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then we also understand that the people who are in the yogic method or the jnanic method, where they want to attain the super soul, so Krishna speaks about atmataya, that means as the super soul. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, this is a little technical, he says those people who are attached to your Brahma form, with some little fortune, when they get devotional to your personal form of super soul. So Vishwanath Chakravarti also says, actually, even that is not a bad position to be in. It's a very elevated position. But he says, for that you need a little fortune. And with that fortune, when a yogi when a jnani who wants to attain Brahma, when he takes up the little service of Paramatma, the person Paramatma, the super soul Paramatma, he actually then gradually rises to become a Shanta Bhakta. We see the first rasa in the 5 rasas. The first one is Shanta Rasa. So the gradual progression is there from Brahma to the service of Paramatma and to Atma Rasa. So this is the position when people with some fortune, they attain this. One other word here given is Arka, who is like the sun. Arka also, it also means a medicine, right? Arka means a medicine, and here it is like the sun, which has got also the power of healing. So the spiritual master is like the sun. Brahmananda Prabhu, once he was being interviewed, and he was saying that actually the interview was asking that when you started the movement in the beginning, Prabhupada was like your guru, and you had very intimate connection with Prabhupada. But as the movement grew, and now, there's so many disciples and grand disciples, what is the position? Brahmananda Prabhu gave a very, very wonderful answer. He said, Prabhupada was like our father then. We were little children. And now we have grown up. Even now, he is our father. So even when we grow up in our spiritual lives, that doesn't mean that people who have trained us, people who are our gurus, and of course our Diksha Guru, we become better than them. No. They are always going to be our fathers. The Diksha Guru is always going to be our father. Then the interviewer asked him that, you say that Guru is like God. Brahmananda Prabhu said, no, 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 no. That was in 1970. That was a mistake I made. And he said, I made a mistake saying that Prabhupada is like God. He said, no, Prabhupada is not God, but he's like God. Then he says, Brahmananda Prabhu starts crying, and he says, actually, Prabhupada is better than God, because he came to the lower east side of New York and he saved us, and he saved me. And that's why he's better than God. So if you understand that, yes, Guru is one who is of that position, then we can understand that, yes, this is what we have. Even when we progress in spiritual life, Guru's position is going to remain the same. Any questions on this verse and purport? Okay, so we move on to the next verse number 25. Atmanameva atmataya vijanitam teneva jatam nikhilam prapanchitam ज्ञानेन भूयोऽपि च तत्प्रलीयते रज्ज्वाम् अहिर्भोग भवाभवो यथा. Anyone to read the translation and purport, please? It's a nice translation, nice purport.
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes.
A person who mistakes a rope for a snake becomes fearful, but he then gives up his fear upon realizing that the so-called snake does not exist. Similarly, for those who fail to recognize you as the supreme soul of all souls, the expansive, illusory material existence arises, but knowledge of you at once causes it to subside. Purport. Those submerged in illusion see material existence as infinite, just as one who is submerged in water sees only water all around him. For example, material scientists and philosophers submerged deep within the ocean of material illusion imagine that the material nature extends infinitely in all directions. In fact, the material creation is finite ocean of ignorance in which foolish living entities such as material scientists are unceremoniously dunked by the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be trapped in a world in which all things are born and die is certainly a fearful experience. Anyone trapped in a dark place naturally becomes fearful. Since material life is always covered by the darkness of ignorance, every conditioned soul is fearful. The material nature is not ultimate reality, and thus analysis of matter can never provide answers to ultimate questions. This dark, snake-like existence called material life immediately disappears as soon as one opens his eyes to the bright light of Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. This is what we call sometimes a one-verse rocket. Actually, if you understand this verse, we can progress very quickly. But our situation is that we always try to balance between our Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Of course, it's a very wonderful position, but we should always introspect and contemplate how to progress from here. A very scary picture of the world we live in is given here, that it's a place of darkness and we are trapped in this world. So Krishna, actually in the 11th canto in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, when he's speaking to Uddhava about the 4 social orders and 4 spiritual orders, he actually says, Acharyam mam vijaniyet. He says, the spiritual master is just like me. This Acharya mam vijaniyan na manyeta karhichit na martya buddhiye suyeta sarvadeva mayo guruhu. Krishna says that one should know the Acharya as myself. That means we should know the Guru as similar as good as Krishna, and never disrespect him in any way. Nav manyet karhichit. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So here Krishna says that the Guru is a representative of all the demigods and very similar to him. Tamal Krishna Maharaj once, Srila Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna Maharaj once, do not take your spiritual master as an ordinary person. Do not take your spiritual master as an ordinary person. That's a very deep meaning, because many times when we progress in our spiritual life, we think, yes, we know everything, and then we don't need Guru. And that's why many times when we start disrespecting Guru, and then all the problems start from there, and slowly, before we realize, we are actually gone very, very far away. So we can see that the prayers of Srīmad Bhāgavatam and other Shastras are so well spoken and realized. They're so wonderfully spoken and realized that actually they convey the full meaning of Krishna consciousness. In this verse, we can see that Krishna has spoken, and the purport is also given that this place is like a very dark place. But what we do is, because we don't have the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, we are taking this rope for a snake. Of course, we saw in Bilwa Mangal Thakur's case, it was the other way around. He was so much attached to Chintamani, the prostitute, that he took the snake as a rope. And then when Chintamani, chastised him that, the affection, the attention, the attraction you have for me, if you have a little bit of that only for Krishna, then your life will be successful. So same thing, instead of feeling scared in this material world, actually the problem is not that we are scared of material world. The problem is that we are not scared of material world. As Prabhupada told his disciples, he said the problem with my disciples is that they are not scared of Maya enough. They're not scared of Maya enough. So here we can see that the Krishna, Brahma is praying, and he's saying that yes, we do not have the knowledge of Krishna, and once we approach a guru and we understand things about Krishna consciousness, slowly our eyes get opened. The word, in the previous verse, there's a word called Upanishad. So Upanishad, we hear this word very often, and the literal meaning of the word Upanishad is literally to sit near the teacher. To sit near the teacher. So when we are sitting near the teacher by either following his instructions or hearing his classes, then we are in the Upanishad stage. So when we are sitting near the teacher, that means we are actually learning and we are serving. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he describes the knowledge which is given to us, the spiritual knowledge which is given to us by our Guru, Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. He describes in 4 different ways. He says, Gyan is like a chakshu, it's like an eyes, which makes us see everything. Gyan is like a deep, like a lamp, which illuminates everything. So here we can see, if we have the illumination of Krishna consciousness, then all the darkness will go away. The other day we were speaking about, in some house, where how we can, have the deities in, our home. And it was a small home, and they said, no, we don't want to keep it in the living room because all sorts of talks are going on there. So we don't want to contaminate the Lord. Then we had to explain to them that actually, when anyone who comes to our home, if they see the deity, they will get purified. As we know that when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he used to go to take darshan of Jagannath, Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Mandir, he knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to stand near Garuda Stambha. And he will also go and stand near Garuda Stambha, knowing that Jagannath will always look at Garuda. And by some chance, if he can look at me also, I'll be very fortunate. So the Lord can never get contaminated. But if his merciful glance falls upon us, then we can become very fortunate. So Jnana Deep, with the knowledge, with the illumination of that knowledge, we can see the Lord, and the Lord can see us. Bhagavad Gita also describes Jnana Plava. Jnana Plava means the boat of knowledge. The boat of knowledge which actually helps us in crossing over the material existence. Here in this verse, Brahmaji says that the expansive, illusory material existence arises. Very interesting term, expansive, illusory material existence. Prabhupada says in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita that our existence is in the middle of non-existence. Just imagine that. I have loved this sentence very much. Our existence is right in the middle of non-existence. Everything around us, including our body, our home, our family, our wealth, our opulences, everything is non-existent in the long run. So, when we see that everything is non-existent, then what do? But the knowledge of Krishna consciousness helps us to cross over the ocean of material existence. And the last one is Jnana Shastra, the sword of knowledge. With the sword of knowledge, we cut open the knots which are there, or any other bandhan which is there, to see the reality. Guru, as we know also in a Hindi prayer, Guru Govind dono khade, kako lage paye, kako lagu paye. Says if Guru and Govind, both of them are standing at the same time, who should I bow down to first? And of course, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, we know that with the mercy of Krishna, we get Guru, and Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, Yasya prasadan na gati kutopi. So with the mercy of Guru, we get Krishna. Yes, this is a very dark place. We are fearful, and if we are not Krishna conscious, we are fearful all the time. But when we see that Krishna's hand is in everything, we let our life guided by Krishna, then we can see that the light appears, the illumination appears, and the path ahead of us is very clear. Prabhupada, he gives a very, very nice analogy. Now, when we think of it, when we are starting our Krishna consciousness journey, we can see what Prabhupada has given us makes it so relevant. Prabhupada says that when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are like driving in darkness. When you drive late at night and early in the morning, just before the sun is rising, nowadays it'll be probably 3:30, 4 o'clock. So when we are driving, we are very focused on the road, and we are very focused on the two white lines which are helping us to maintain our lane. So while we are driving, we are focusing on those two white lines. And those two white lines are actually, Prabhupada says that these are the regulatory principles. So when we are coming from darkness of material illusion, and we are driving on the path of Krishna consciousness, we are focused on these rules and regulations, that we have to follow these rules and regulations very much. We just can't, imagine you're driving in darkness and you're focusing on the two white lines. Now you drive for some time, your focus is there, you're following the two white lines, you're following the rules and regulations. After that, when the sun starts coming, when the dawn starts happening, you can see lights, the faint light is happening. And then, your focus is reducing from those two white lines. And same way, when we are progressing in our bhakti, with the instructions of Guru and Gauranga, our focus becomes less on the regulatory principles. As we see, when we're driving, when the light comes more and more and more, we can see the actual world around us, the illumination is happening, and we can see the reality of where we are driving. The same way, when we progress in our bhakti, we can see that rules and regulations, yes, they become second nature. But we focus more on how to go deeper in our Krishna consciousness, how to get attached to Krishna. So far in the darkness, we were trying how to get detached from the material world, but now how to get attached to Krishna. So the focus on the white lines becomes less and less, and the focus on driving safely and also relishing the drive becomes the mood. So same way, when we are progressing in bhakti, a stage must come where, yes, talking about the rules and regulations, what you can eat on Ekadashi, what you cannot eat is okay, important, but that should not be the only important topic we discuss. We should discuss how we can get more and more attached to Krishna, as we know by chanting the holy name. In Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur is speaking to Mahaprabhu, and he says that yes, we can understand Krishna's form, abode, qualities, Leela, everything through his name. So when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, when we are focused in our chanting and when we understand that this chanting is the only hope we have, Srīmad Bhāgavatam is the only hope we have to cross over this expansive, illusory material existence, and we get the knowledge of Krishna, then all the other problems causes it to subside. The illusion subsides there. So we'll go to any questions or comments from here, verse 25. Okay. So we progress from here. Verse number 26. Ajnana samno bhavabandha moksho dvanam nanyo tashrajna bhavat ajrasya chiti atmani kevale pare vicharya mane tarana vivahani. I'll read the translation, but next, tomorrow again, tomorrow is of course Sunday. I don't know whether we have this Bhagavatam class on Sunday or no, but we'll put on the group. The translation is, the conception of material bondage and the conception of liberation are both manifestations of ignorance. Being outside the scope of true knowledge, they cease to exist when one correctly understands that the pure spirit soul is distinct from matter and always fully conscious. At that time, bondage and liberation no longer have any significance, just as day and night have no significance from the perspective of the sun. So again, when we bring back the driving analogy here given by Prabhupada, we can see that even the following of white lines, or just focusing on the scenery while we are driving is not important. The destination becomes important. So as Brahma says, that when we understand that we are different from matter, as Charan Prabhu says, most of the time, actually every time, all we study is matter, but not what matters. Actually, we must study the soul and the relation with the Supreme Soul, Krishna. That's what is only going to matter. Nothing else matters. So here Brahmaji says that once we come to that understanding that the pure soul is distinct from matter and always fully conscious, that time the illusion will disappear. And that time bondage and liberation also will have no significance, as we know that yes, now we want to go back to Godhead, but when we progress in bhakti, we will think, Krishna, how can I serve you? As Prabhupada tells us that we want nothing else. Krishna, please, may I never give up your service. So I want to end here with a prayer saying that Krishna, please allow us to know that we are in this darkness of material existence. We do not want to enjoy anything, but we want only to serve you, and by that service we want to please you. And when you are pleased, we will be pleased. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthraj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Any points or any comments? It's already 7 o'clock. Any reflections? One thing I want to tell you before we leave, that yes, this is nice, half an hour of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, but actually when we joined, we had a whole morning program, and many times even on a working day, devotees will come, attend from, either if they come for Mangal Arati or the Shringar Arati, and they'll hear, take part in Guru Puja, Kirtan, the Bhagavatam class, and then take breakfast prasadam if they have time. Otherwise, they'll take breakfast prasadam packed into work. We are missing this very much in this day and age, and I'm missing it personally very much. So Sunday morning at least, I can get my nourishment by coming to the Bhagavatam class at the center. Take prasadam with the devotees, chat a bit, see how everyone is going, and sometimes we also have a little 10-15 minutes japa workshop, which I want to continue. Maybe tomorrow, maybe from next Sunday. Let's see how we go. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Off कर मुझे